Hi, everybody. Yay, it's here. Day 1, part 1 of the 7 pieces of true healing. Oh, I'm so excited to share with all of you, and I'm so excited to see all these new faces and all these new people, and so many of you invited some of your people, and I'm just like, So very excited, very passionate, and let's dive in. So let's do this. I'll give a few moments to see if anyone's gonna hop on live. And I'm really enjoying my twinkling filter. It's like super fun. I don't know if it's like super distracting. Let me know. I don't know if I can turn it off while I've already started. So we're gonna twinkle. We're twinkling today. Just let the twinkle happen. It makes me happy. So hi Katya, welcome. All right, so like I said, it's the first day. We're going to be doing these each day from now until the solstice next week. So there are 7 pieces, 7 days. I'm going to share all of them with you, and I'll be offering some homework as well for you to enjoy, to really deepen into these pieces and incorporate them into your life so that you can benefit from them, share them with your family, share them with your friends, and even kind of share them with your clients if you do some healing work or wish to do some healing work. This is a good little framework. It's been harnessed through my own personal embodied experiences and through working with clients, and you can easily, take what you love, leave the rest. And yeah. Hi Roberta, thank you for being here. Yay. So leading up to this series, I have been talking about true healing and true power and what those mean exactly. And I invite you to go back to those videos from earlier this week if you missed them and if you're curious. Essentially, true healing is about learning from our challenges. It's about extracting the wisdom from them and being our own healers. Your greatest gifts and your purpose in life, whether we like it or not, come from our most challenging and traumatic experiences. Hands down. This is true healing. This is true wholing, as I like to also call it. This is really what makes life and helps us on our journey and to really deepen into that authentic journey. So true healing is not about pacifying symptoms like we've been taught to believe in our current paradigm with things, right? Like we just look at the surface challenge and we try to pacify that and focus on that. And then things keep popping back up. And they will, right? Because it's all a spiral. It's not a linear thing. However, we need to ask ourselves at a certain point, are we deepening into this journey and meeting new facets of the challenge? Or are we continuing to come up against that same old thing because we're just pacifying the symptom? It's like, taking an Advil for a headache versus like really getting curious about the headache. Why does this headache happen? What can I learn from this? What in my life is allowing this headache to manifest? So that's the difference there. So challenges we experience in our physical existence, in our bodies, our health, our lives, our work in the world, our relationships, these are just manifestations and reflections of something that needs to be looked at on our more subtle realms. And these subtle, invisible parts of us are our emotional, mental, and spiritual or energetic levels, as opposed to that physical, gross experience. Like I said earlier, our bodies, lives, everything in this physical world. The subtle will always create the gross, always. So true healing requires that holistic, integrative approach. And it really invites us to reorient the way that we look at trauma and challenges and pain and suffering. And rather than doing whatever it takes to have it go away by fixating on the surface, gross level challenge, we must extract the wisdom and the messages from these things and work our way back to the subtle root. So by that rationale, just to put a bow on this, your true power is subtle. It is in your ability to be a sensitive, sensorial, compassionate, present creature and to give these qualities to yourself. It's not this brute strength approach that many of us associate with power. And like I said, those two topics I went into in greater detail in videos earlier this week. I just kind of wanted to catch you up. And without further ado, let's get into these 7 pieces. Yeah. So, and again, these are in no particular order because nothing ever is in any particular order or goes to any type of plan that we have. It's all kind of on its own becoming an evolutionary process. It's never linear. So these are in no particular order. And today's piece is embodiment. Deep and whole embodiment. And I have with me one of my favorite little crystals. Not really a crystal, it's a piece of petrified wood. And it's incredibly grounding and really represents that earth element in a big way. It's a beautiful little piece of petrified wood. So this to me symbolizes everything I'm about to talk about. This is true grounding and embodiment at its finest right here. So embodiment is kind of a buzzword, I feel. And there's many different practices, there's many different approaches, and I would just like to invite you to drop all of that kind of heady stuff for a moment, which is the antithesis of embodiment, and think about it as in there's no right way to practice deep embodiment. Essentially, at its core, embodiment is the continued practice of coming back to the body. It's the way of engaging with the physical world through the body and its senses, right? Versus just getting all heady. It's relying on the body and its senses and its perceptions and its experience of the world around you. The body is so incredibly wise. I wish there was a word that was more intense than wise. Like, you know, I need, the thesaurus doesn't have one. We don't have a word. It's like wise. To call it wise is almost insulting because it's like beyond that, right? It's just, it knows everything. It carries everything. It stores everything that we can't even begin to imagine. So it's the most wise, sensitive thing that we will ever know, and we don't even truly know it. So source from it. Tracking sensations and textures and mental stories and emotional responses while engaging with our physical bodies can offer profound insight. They are our teachers. They are our mirrors. They are the mirrors of our internal landscape. And like I said, they carry all of these stories, experiences, and traumas. And these things, when we're not engaging with them, will manifest in some way in our physical experience. So finding ways to fully inhabit this vessel is the way to hearing and understanding our authentic needs more fully. And I say authentic because they are our authentic needs versus the needs that we have kind of thought that we needed. And I'll get into that in a second when I kind of talk about the mind will lead us astray, the body will not. Yes, thank you, Katya. The body is beyond wise. So when we can know our authentic needs, we can meet them. And when we meet them, we are exercising our right to fully be here, to engage with life, to know radiance, to know health and joy and vitality and purpose. And it's easy, especially these days, to disconnect from our body and rely heavily on our minds. We're in this 24/7, 365, go, go, go society. And it's a very mental body thing. So we're constantly consuming media, consuming information. And all of this oftentimes is at the expense of our physical body. And I have so many clients who have lost touch with like just basic body things, like working past the urge to like go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, I am working so much, or I'm so engrossed in what I'm doing that I will just like, oh, I have to pee. I don't even know how long I've had to pee. Or working past the point of hunger, or not knowing like what true physical hunger even feels like anymore. So we're in a very mental body state so much of the time, at the expense of our physical body and of being the embodied creature that we're meant to be. These bodies are our vehicles. They're like our translator, our translator. I like that, for how to be in this physical place and how to live life as a human. So the disconnection that many of us experience yields dis-ease on so many different levels and creates a host of issues such as, binge eating disorders, emotional eating, digestive imbalances, sleep issues, chronic aches from not noticing how you're carrying yourself, because we can often get disconnected, circulatory issues, hormonal imbalances, and so much more really stem from this disconnection epidemic. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Hold on. You don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to myself. I do this quite often. So the body does not lie. The mind can lead you astray. The mind has its ulterior motives to perpetuate your current status quo, to perpetuate the way that you view yourself and the world, your current mindsets, your current beliefs, your current habits. And so it has its own thing and creates that filter for you to engage in the world. The body is your anchor to truth and to wisdom, and without the clouded perceptions of the mind. So it's imperative to re-inhabit and to begin engaging in a more physical, sensorial way. The body was our first source of information before our brains developed. And I'm not talking from an evolutionary perspective. I mean, just like in your lifetime right now, baby, all you had was body. All you had was sensorial experience and body wisdom. And this body is truth. It won't let you down. And there are also other reasons, so many other reasons for disconnect, aside from our current society and the fast-pacedness, that could have simply compounded onto other things in our previous lives. Some of us have experienced trauma to the physical body, whether in the form of physical abuse or sexual abuse, that really create feelings of instability and lack of safety in the physical vessel. And it doesn't have to be a physical trauma in nature. It could also be an emotional or mental one that create the overactive mental body at the expense of the physical body. So there are various shades and flavors, but it all does go back to trauma of some kind, some type of challenge, some type of suffering that has led us to believe that the body is not safe, it's not worth our time, those kind of type A pushy people that I am a recovering one. It's like, oh God, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm working right now. This is like, I know, it's, there are various reasons. So part of the true healing process, and this first piece is so imperative, is to re-inhabit the body lovingly, patiently, and fully, and to really radically and openly examine the ways in which there is a disconnect. And why is that disconnect there? And what is perpetuating the disconnect? What on that subtle realm of you, and the emotional, mental, energetic level of you, is creating the environment that is conducive to the disconnect? So that's where the work begins. I know I said it wasn't linear, and I really feel, especially in my experience and in working with clients, coming to that, like, let me stabilize myself in such a way that I can fully assess my current physical reality is kind of, and I don't want to, say 100% of the time, but really is that first step, that foundation. And this really all ties in directly to that root chakra. It's all root chakra territory. So building your house, your soul's natural maturation and evolutionary and healing process on this solid foundation. So I would love to offer you, hi Allie, thank you for being here. I would love to offer you these particular questions. I am a big advocate of journaling and of self-inquiry. And you're probably like, well, Devon, isn't that very like mental body of you? And isn't this a talk about embodiment? Yes, it is. And we need both pieces. So, when do you feel most alive and in your body? When do you feel most alive and in your body? When do you tend to check out? Like, what are you doing when you are kind of checked out? Have past experiences, injuries, instances of body shaming, etc., created an experience of feeling unsafe in your own skin? And I know for me, I've had various instances. I have had probably all of those. I've had injuries. I've been the recipient of so much body shaming as a young woman. And I've also had instances of sexual misconduct in my life. So those have all created experiences and very real times for me to check out. And in doing that, I created the perfect breeding ground for dis-ease to manifest. Yeah. So again, I'll string all of these pieces together over the next week and how they kind of build on each other. But really establishing that firm connection to the body and to your physical reality and getting real and really assessing what is and isn't working, what is and is not causing me nourishment, creating nourishment in my life, and going from there. So an exercise I'd like to leave you with is we can do this. We're all here together. So get cozy in your seat. And that's something that's difficult for me. I'm always working on ergonomic setups because I have scoliosis. And that causes me some pain sometimes. And so what do I like to do every once in a while? Check out of this vessel because it does not feel so good in my thoracic spine, let me tell you. So, embodiment practices are very important to me. So get cozy in your seats, please. And I invite you to close your eyes. You're not going to miss anything. I'm not going to start doing something awesome that you have to see. If you feel safe and in a space that permits you, I invite you to close your eyes. And connect to your breath. So closing off that sense of the eyes invites you to come more inward. Noticing breath, that anchor to the physical body. And simply begin to observe. Observe the body, starting at your feet, noticing where your feet are touching the ground, working your awareness up your legs, your ankles, knees, thighs, hips, your bottom. And continuing the breath, noticing pelvis and belly. And chest, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, and face, head, neck. And I invite you to identify an area of the body that feels a little distant, a little quiet, maybe lacking sensation, feels difficult to connect with. And resist the temptation to judge or analyze. Just be the observer, just observing, getting curious. We're such fascinating creatures, so I invite you just have curiosity and fascination. So with this area of the body that you've identified, notice any sensations or images or colors, words, messages, thoughts, stories, anything that it is willing to share with you or to show you. And if it feels challenging and a little fuzzy, maybe not much is presenting itself, that's fine too. It's all fine. It's all beautiful. And then as you're ready, gently wiggle fingers and toes, maybe move around a bit and open your eyes and hi. All right. So for the next several days, I invite you to connect with this body part. Keep this communication going. Each time you move or walk or get out of bed or are exercising, whatever kind of movement you're doing for the next couple of days, even if you're just sitting on the couch or sitting at the computer, make a conscious effort to check in and just notice what's happening. To take it up a notch, if you feel curious and ready, I invite you to sit in meditation and commune with this body part. So get really quiet, no distractions, turn the technology off, go to a different room, go outside, and ask it what it needs, ask it how it feels, what messages it has for you, and have a journal nearby or an art medium. I love also creating just kind of art. Expressive arts therapy is a wonderful embodiment tool. And yeah, feel free to share any insights that you're noticing or anything you're working with or the body parts. And there are definitely, I love working with body part metaphors. And this is all work that I do with my clients. I'm giving you just a little flavor of these 7 pieces of healing. But body part metaphors are fantastic and really offer a lot of insight into more of the like subtle pieces, the subtle causes of what we're experiencing on our gross level. So just think about like, okay, if it was my knee, what do knees do? What are some metaphors that we hear for them? You know, bending and not breaking, or having some more flexibility, things of this nature. So all just things to play with. Are there any questions or insights or anything like that? I'm so nervous. I just want to throw that out there, and I don't know why, because I love you 3 women who are here with me. Like, I couldn't ask for 3 more amazing women to have tuned in. This means so much. And I'm really enjoying that you're here and seeing your little faces up in the corner that you're watching. So, okay. Embodiment is our first of 7 pieces. Like I said, these are all pieces of true healing. So finding that holistic, integrative approach and to really extract wisdom from the challenge as opposed to pacifying it, because that's not what's going to get you. To just look at something like, oh, I'm experiencing this challenge and pacifying those symptoms, you're going to keep coming up against the same thing. Your physical reality is all created by you. All of it. And I remember when I first kind of started to accept this notion, I was like a little insulted, you know? I was like, so these things that I don't like, I'm creating, like, what are you trying to say? And it's actually a very empowering thing, because if these are the things that you've created, you can easily destroy and recreate something in the manner in which you intended. When we're carrying layers of crap from previous instances in our lives, handed down ancestrally, we can often get skewed, and it can get in the way of us receiving the authentic visions that we hold for ourselves, the authentic vision of true whole health on a deep level that we hold for ourselves, and then actually creating that, because there's so much story and nonsense around why we can't have that. And so these 7 pieces, when brought together in a unified whole, create the manifested life that we actually want. And that's what's so important to me. I'm so passionate about all of this. And yes, I think it is more excitement than nervousness. This is truly my passion and my calling to to get us all to rethink challenges and trauma and to not sweep under the rug and do the whole bypass thing. I watched enough of that in my childhood and in my early life, and watched my mother succumb to that as well. And she's no longer with us. So it's time to rethink it all. All right, Roberta, I got you, mama. What do we got? Your belly, currently larger than you're comfortable with. She says, I'm pregnant again, birthing a new identity. I love it. I had missed the connection in my current place in life, turning 50 and transforming my identity through my work and my recent bodily changes. Okay. So have you gotten any clarity around this new identity? Or is it still kind of gestating? And Allie, your body has been telling you a lot lately. Thank you, Katya. It might just be the filter. I'm shining because I love this filter. It makes me sparkle. I feel like a star child. Allie, do you care to share any more? Totally understand if not. It's my favorite filter too. Ready to pop. All right, so I hear you're on the verge of birthing this new identity. Is there any clarity maybe around what's needed? Is it more time or more patience? Is there a specific need? My body's been telling me a lot lately too. I have been falling into some old patterns of pushing past my my capacity and taking on a little bit more than I need to, and feeling some stress around that. And whenever that happens, my old hormonal imbalances start to rear their ugly heads. And I have been breaking out on my chin for the first time in a very long time, as well as noticing some of those. And I talked about this in the videos earlier this week with some physical body challenges with my hormones due to experiences in my early life that created all of these stories and filters and compensatory armors of being the warrior, which isn't really the warrior, right? The true warrioress is that soft, subtle, that's true power. But, the skewed younger me took on those roles and was very Urgh. And so yeah, she'll pop up every once in a while again, and the body loves to let me know by going, all right, Devon, what you're doing isn't working. We're going to give you a little bit of pimples, and those lovely old friends of yours, those little coarse chin whiskers, are going to pop back up again. So she's always talking to us, right? She is always, always, always talking. And that's my cue to go back in to these subtle realms and say, okay, what work needs to be done? Versus just, well, let me go get a prescription or let me go do this. Those things have their place and they're fantastic. And I certainly support the physical body while she's healing, while these subtle realms are catching up, if that makes sense. And that's why I especially love what I do. I'm going to toot my own horn. I'm like a one-stop shop. You got all the nutrition and the herbal wisdom and knowledge to support the physical body, while we're also supporting energetically and doing clearing there for whole recreation. All right. The sparkle is an accent in your spirit. Thank you. Allie's ready to take responsibility. Sweet. I love you, girl. And Roberta's preparing to enter the birthing process, accepting it may be painful and no going back. Yes. That's another thing. I was just talking to a prospect about this. She was on the fence, and I was working through that with her, and she's like, it's not the cost. The cost is fair. I don't know where this resistance is coming from. And I said, if I may, I feel like the resistance is you resisting stepping into your power, resisting becoming the butterfly. Right now you're kind of in this chrysalis, and it's easy for us to maintain the current status quo, even if it's not really serving us and it doesn't really feel good, it doesn't feel how we want to feel. it's easy to maintain it because it's familiar. We already know. We're like, well, I'm already here. I got this. This shit's down pat. I got it. So when there's that prospect of true and what you really want to step into, it can be so scary. Because your ego's like, I'm about to die. Like, you can't hold on to me the way I look right now because you're about to step into something else. And so it like digs its heels in and is like, no, you're not doing this. So yes, it can be painful and there is no going back. Like once you cross over, once you wake up, you can't really go back to sleep. We can go backwards a little bit and see that there's some more work that needs to be done because we're never done. Like I keep getting better and better and better. And clearly, I'm just looking at this in the screen like, oh, I wish you weren't here the week that I am doing this. And of course it's here the week I'm doing this. Because the nerves and the, am I going to do this right? And I have to prove and push and joke. All these old stories pop up every time there's a new evolution. And the body and our physical experience manifests that. Allie, I can tell you I'm holding it all in my body and it's not liking it. Lots of old stories and habits and unfinished stuff. Yeah. I love that you're noticing that. That's beautiful observations and beautiful awareness. And Katya, you're right. Adrenal showed up asking me to get very still with it. I'm going into deep listening. Beautiful. Very specific. Very specific. Hi, Alicia. Your shoulders. Didn't notice them or acknowledge them at all. Okay. So they feel very, very challenged right now. Very disconnected. You're not noticing them at all. I'm curious if they, when you did notice them and did acknowledge them, if they had anything specific to share with you or a specific need. And Roberta, my current headache feels linked to my base, feeling heavy, bowel and birth canal. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Up here, so our crown and our third eye, this is our pituitary, our hypothalamus, our pineal, all of this speaks directly to our adrenals and our reproductive organs. And bowel, birth canal, that's all kind of root chakra territory. So with adrenals, so you have the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals, and they need to communicate with each other. So you have your most spirit self and your most like primal root human self, and physiologically you have your all kinds of every hormone in the body, your digestive hormones, your reproductive hormones, your stress hormones, your sleep hormones, all of them here to here have to communicate just so. So right now, as you're on this kind of great precipice of, this rebirth identity, you're like rewiring and reshifting a lot of stuff. That's so beautiful. I love this stuff. And Allie, I feel like I'm so sick and tired of evolving into the butterfly. Like I've done it so many times in the past. I know, again, most people are excited about this, but I don't want to do it. I'm resisting the hell out of it. I hear that. I definitely hear that. And I empathize with you. And I'm curious if the resistance itself is kind of the evolution. If the resistance is the medicine and the kind of teaching right now versus what exactly you're stepping into, if that makes sense. It's like the resistance itself is the teaching and not the specific life transition. And yes, Roberta, death, rebirth, death. It's the cycles. It's the goddess all over. And Allie, of course, your chin breaks out too. And Katya, I access my power when I get still. Yeah. Totally. That is our power. The stillness and the subtle and just the softness and the presence. That is our power. And when we have those instances of not feeling safe or those episodes of trauma, it doesn't feel good. So we want to run and we want to keep going. So there's the hyperactivity and the overconsumption and the go. And that actually depletes the hell out of us. It's not this like badge of honor. It's like, look how busy I am and look how much I'm going and doing and accomplishing. It's like, at the expense of what though? That's not power. Roberta can relate to my chin. It's so just like, oh, anyway, I love you. I love you. Thank you for sharing with me. Alicia, feels invisible. So maybe sitting with, what does shoulders do? So those metaphors I talked about, like, are you shouldering too much, carrying the burden, the weight of the world on my shoulders? They're also for pushing and holding and pulling. So just thinking about all these things that they do. It's also one of our only ball and socket joints. So there's some uniqueness there. Allie feels like crying. Girl, this new moon did me in. I've been crying all week. I'm really upset about it. Like, I can't face this again. What if it's always like this? Like, I don't have time to ever get comfortable because I'm constantly transitioning. Yes. So I think you're onto something. It's the resistance itself and that story right there versus the actual transition and like the current situation, if that makes sense. That's the thing. That's your theme and your pattern. And leaning into where this shows up in your body. And Roberta, yes, I know this work it's like amazing. Our bodies are beautiful. Yes, I've heard that too, Katya, with tasting your own tears. It's so healing. Hi, Anya. There's so many beautiful women here. I love this. This is like, we should just have like healers hour or just share resources. I wish I could hear and see all of you too. I'm just talking to myself. Allie getting quiet. Not sleep or quiet down. Others under here. Yeah, and Roberta, that's right. What's that old saying about the shoemaker's child has no shoes or something? You know what I mean. It's easy. Sometimes it's easier for us to give the medicine better than it is to, or it's easier for us to give the medicine that we need than it is for us to take what we need. So many of us teach and give the exact same things that we need the most. So that makes a lot of sense, and that's where the work is. And deepening it, I've found deepening into my own practices and the things that challenge me the most make me better at what I'm doing for others. Can't we do a Zoom conference or something where we can all hear each other? We can absolutely do that for some other time. But this was my thing for the 7 pieces of healing, and today we're talking about embodiment. But yes, I would love that. I'd be so open to doing that. That's a great idea, Anya. And I'd offer up my Zoom for that as well. So I'm going to close that for today. And tomorrow we're moving into the second piece. Like I said, I'll be here for the next 7 days. So from today leading us the final day into the solstice. So we will end on the summer solstice next Thursday. And yeah, it is really my hope that these practices serve you and your friends, your family, and you can take them, deepen into your own current existing practices, take them and adopt them into your existing modalities with your clients, and even just your friends and family if you don't have clients. I know that many of my followers are also kind of fellow healers and fellow light workers, and many, like Alicia, are beautiful mamas that are raising beautiful babies, and she can certainly raise her daughters with these tools as well. So day 1 today was embodiment. Be with those body parts, play with those journal questions. I'll be here so presently and so passionately with love for all of you. So please, for the next week, share, take advantage of me. Let's all take advantage of each other. And I love you all so, so, so much.